Hey, what's up guys? Jamie here. Thanks very much for joining me in today's video. It's going to be a pretty quick one, but an interesting message I think that you guys are going to resonate with for those of you that have experienced some level of success in your affiliate business. Now, before I get into that, welcome to the channel if this is the first time here. My name is Jamie. I cover internet marketing, affiliate marketing, how to get started online, and all things digital. If any of that's of interest to yourself, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to smash that bell icon to stay up to date with everything I'm putting out. So when you're reading the instruction manual for getting into affiliate marketing, and it says you've got to do all this stuff, you got to make a list, and you got to make websites, and you got to do all this stuff, and SEO, and these abstract terms you've never really heard of, and then you start learning about them and all that sort of stuff. One thing that they don't tell you is what happens when you do get any level of success, and I think I'm not isolated in discussing this. I think there's quite a few people out there that probably go through some form of this to one extent or another. And what happens is you've got in your mind your financial goal. And so of course you've got other goals as well, personal growth, the whatever that comes with going down this journey. But you got the financial goal, and whether it's a 1,000, whether it's 10,000, whether it's 100,000 per month, whatever the case may be, and it's sitting there in your mind. Now, a lot of people have their financial thermostats dialed up differently than others. So some people want a smaller amount per month or per year. Other people want more, so on and so forth. But what tends to happen is when you hit those figures that you've set for yourself, and especially if it's kind of over and above what you've previously ever earned before, and it's kind of like, wow, this is amazing, oh my God, I can't believe I've done it, this is cool. And so then the kind of thrill of the chase wears off. And I know quite a number of people, obviously myself, I'm speaking about my own experience clearly, but quite a few people that I've spoken to, both students, even mentors and stuff like that as well, that I've connected with over the years, have this kind of weird feeling that pops up, and it's kind of like, great, now what? Like, what's the next, where's the next thing going to come from? So I think most people will probably take a step back, reassess where they're at, and then obviously push themselves forward. But having said that, one of the important issues that does arise from this kind of phenomenon is we tend to let our foot off the gas a little bit. Or I know I did in my case. And so I hit my financial goal, my short-term financial goal, and I kind of thought, this is cool. This blimmin' cool, actually. Actually, I've never sort of had this experience in my life before. This is incredible. Now what? Now what do I do? Do I continue what I'm doing, or do I let my normal way of thinking kick in, which is basically to disrupt that? And that's what I did, and that's I think what a lot of people do. And so for me, what I ended up doing is starting to overcomplicate my business. I started putting way too much stuff on my plate. I started diving into other projects that were similar but not entirely related. All for, in my mind, I could justify it ad infinitum, like it was always a reason why I did it. And they were relatively aligned with my overall goal, but the point of all this being is that I lost focus and I lost that momentum. And so I actually, interestingly enough, had an interview here on this channel recently, and one of the comments made by the interviewee was basically he felt the same thing. You can check it out, his name's Josh Cousins on the channel here, but he went from 0 to 100K in 4 months as an 18-year-old. And so once he had hit that, he then kind of just, I think he took his foot off the brakes a little bit, off the accelerator a little bit, sorry, put his foot on the brake, maybe it's probably a more accurate way of putting it. And I've kind of gone through similar things in different times of my life, and more specifically in recent times with my affiliate business. And so I've had to then kind of sit down and go, okay, well, what do I do? What am I lacking here? Like, how do I kind of get that momentum back up? And the simple way for me to do it is remember what actually got me to that point to start with. And it wasn't from me, trying to set up 300 different projects at once. It was quite literally two things. One was simplifying my business and implementing like crazy with my business. And so having said that, I've now gone through that process. I'm doing that now. And another student of ours through SAA, which you're welcome to check out below, by the way, or at least a case study regarding that anyway. He said something really interesting on an interview that he was on recently, and I thought this was another really cool one, and I've borrowed it quite a few times, so Joshua Ong, I appreciate this, man, this is really cool. But basically it was implying that over the months, he's been dropping seeds. And of course, when you're dropping seeds, some of them are going to land on the fertile soil, some of them are going to land on like the rocks and never come to fruition, and the other ones are going to land in like the water and float down the stream, things like that. And so it's those little pocket of soil where you can nurture those seeds and grow them into trees. That's the ones that you want to focus on. So having said that, it's not always easy to do so, and so that's what I'm kind of going through that process now, as replanting a lot of these seeds that I kind of just let die because I changed my direction in my business. I went elsewhere. I wasn't fully elsewhere, and that was probably the problem. Had I just gone fully elsewhere in my business, then maybe I could have maintained that momentum, but I sort of had my fingers in many different pies, and when you do that, like I say, the whole structure tends to collapse. So the other thing I wanted to address today as well is that, again, using that kind of ceiling, it is really a ceiling. It does tend to act like that for a lot of people. And again, I'm speaking of my own experience, and I know not everyone is going to be able to relate to this in particular. But having said that, like I say, I've spoken to quite a few people, and they have had similar experiences. It's kind of like this thing where when we're in the workforce, we earn X amount of money, and then we hopefully get a pay rise every other year or whatever, or we change jobs and get more money that way, etc. But what happens is each time we upskill, and each time we go to this new promotion or whatever, then we're just raising our financial ceiling just a little bit more. And it takes quite a lot of willpower and quite a lot of I guess internal growth to really dial up your financial thermostat, because it starts to feel really uncomfortable when you go beyond what you've previously earned, because you start getting all these crazy thoughts in your head like, oh, is this real? What if I can't sustain this? And then usually what happens is, if you haven't adjusted your financial thermostat enough to keep up with your earnings, your subconscious will find ways to sabotage yourself. You will spend money on stupid stuff needlessly that you would never have done before. And that in itself is kind of a common one. Now, I'm not qualified to speak on any of that stuff. I only know this from my own experience, which has been quite of an interesting one to learn of all these things. So if you're finding yourself in a similar position, you've gone through, I guess, some sort of growth, whether it's sort of mentally, emotionally, financially, and you're kind of hitting, it's what they call an apotheosis. It's like the furthest you could possibly go at that time, and you've reached that point, and you find yourself putting your foot off the accelerator a little bit because you're not as hungry anymore, because you've now hit your goals. A couple of things that can really help you out. Number one is quite simply by allowing yourself permission to take a bit of a break. And I don't mean like take your break forever, because that's going to ruin your momentum, of course. Is what the whole discussion point is today. But quite simply by having some time out, refocusing on your goals, because what happens is, as humans, we are always going to want. We're always going to want that next thing. And if you'd like to read more about that, I highly recommend studying up on dopamine and how it affects our decisions in life, because that's basically keeps us wanting stuff forever. That's the anticipation hormone, they call it. So anyway, there's a story for another time. So if you found yourself in that realm and you're wondering how you go about resetting things, take some time out, realign your goals, be super grateful for what you have achieved and honor that, and give yourself praise and reward, all that sort of stuff. But then go back to exactly what it was that got you to that point, both in the emotional state and also the actual actions you've taken along the way. And once you do that and you've simplified your process again, and you've realigned and everything, then it's a lot easier for you just to focus on your goals in front of you in order to hit that next level. And that's not going to seem so scary this time, because you're already at that other level, and now you're just chasing that next rung of the ladder. Now, the other thing I would like to point out as well is that if, for example, you've never earned, say, 20K per month in your life, and all of a sudden you're currently earning like $500 a month or $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is possible to go from that to 20K per month. But what tends to happen is, again, going back to our subconscious mechanism starts sabotaging us because it's scary. It's unknown. We don't know what it's like. We're worried about judgment from our friends and family. We're worried about judgment probably from ourselves as well. And it's different. like, and I'm not saying that's like the biggest income ever, like you can probably earn way more, and some people laugh at the idea of earning only 20k per month, of course, but I'm speaking to the other part that goes from 2k to 20k. So what's the thing that you need to do in that case? Of course, have that as your figure, right? Like, I'm not suggesting for one moment that you don't have your higher thing that you're trying to aim for, right? All I mean is that do it in incremental steps. And I'll give you a really good example. Is a guy that's just come into SAA, and he's had pretty much everything stacked against him. In fact, there's a few of these that's actually quite compelling. I find that these stories very, very inspiring. There's a couple of them in particular, but the latest one is English is, I don't even know if it's second language, definitely second language, maybe third, who knows. But the guy speaks some languages, right? So he's probably a lot more intelligent than I am. Speaks multiple languages. He is from what you would define as a third world country. It was a big effort for him to find the resources to get into SAA, but he didn't let that be an excuse. He made it happen. And the amazing thing with this gentleman is in 23 days, he's made $4,000, which some people, like, for me, I just think it's like the most amazing thing ever, because 4K for some people is not that much money. I understand that, but for someone who is in that environment and hasn't earned that type of money before, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. Now, the reason why I mention this gentleman is because his goal was a very conservative 5K per month. He wanted to earn 5K, and lo and behold, he's probably going to do it in his very first month in SAA, which I think is really compelling. And he's just taken what we're teaching and he is running with it, and he's doing a really good job, and he's learning as he's going, and he's just super grateful for the opportunity, blah, 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 which is cool. The reason I mention all that is because he probably has a higher goal. He probably wants to earn a lot more than that, as we all do, but it's about those incremental steps that you put in along the way, right? And like I say, once you do hit those, let's say that this guy hits 5K in a month, then he will probably go through this exact process I've been speaking about. He'll probably go, yay, go me. But probably not, because he's pretty damn determined. I'm pretty sure he'll just go, okay, cool, well, now I need to double it for next month. So if you've experienced this, let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to hear. Maybe it's just me that's gone through this stuff before, but I have my suspicions that I'm not the only one. So anyway, just to recap really quickly as well, I'm conscious of your time here, but if you have gone through this, then you've hit your financial goal in the short term, at least anyway, and you found that the little vacation you're going to treat yourself to has extended a little bit too far, and then you think maybe I should go have a look at some other stuff because you feel like you've conquered that. Just sit back, readdress what got you to that point, refine and redefine your goals, and aim for the next rung of the ladder. And what you'll find is that you're aiming for just a few steps above where you are, even though I know you've got your big goal, placed up there. It's going to be a lot easier to go get, rather than going, cool, well, now that I've hit 5K, I'm going to hit like 300K per month. See how that goes. Of course, it's doable. It's the internet, thank God, right? But just baby steps, right? Anyway, and doing so, you're going to keep yourself hungry. And that's kind of the cool thing. And if you want materialistic stuff, then throw that out as part of your goals. Like if that's what you're aiming for, that might be a byproduct of you earning X amount, then go for it. That's, who are we? Who's anyone to judge what you choose to spend your financial resources on? That's for you, and whatever fulfills you. Me personally, I prefer experience and time with people and things like that. But that's not for everyone. I don't judge anyone for having a different view than that either. So with all that being said, hopefully you got some value out of this, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I say, if you are interested, we are raising the price of SAA to $2,000 as of the 15th of August. If it's of interest to yourself, it's currently $1,500. I understand that's outside the realms of possibility for some people. Having said that, I can assure you that the value is categorically there. All you need to do is click that link below, check out the free case study I put together for that, and you can see whether it's the right option for yourself. If it is, there's an option to book a call with me. I will see if we work together well, and of course, if we are, then I will see whether SAA is the right fit for you. Anyway, with all that being said, I'm off. Thanks very much for joining me, guys, and see you in the next one. Cheers.